I'm Luke Summerhays, and I love Quaxly. Ken Sugimori, whose art style defined the look of Pokemon for many years, once described the process of designing the starters for each new game. He said, "The way we create the 3 starter Pokemon is usually very similar. They're always grass, fire, and water types. We always divide the roles for the 3 starter Pokemon, by which I mean we assign each of them a distinct personality. For example, we make a cool one, a serious one, and a funny one." It's fairly easy to see this pattern in this generation. Fuecoco is the funny one, and Sprigatito, sitting pristinely, is the serious one. Quaxly, seen in its very first appearance doing up its own hairdo, is undoubtedly the cool one. I've almost always picked water starters since I began with Pokemon Blue, and seeing this adorable duck with such a smug vibe, the decision was easy. Quaxly is a water-type bird Pokemon, with a big crest of downy feathers on its head, which resemble a hairpiece. With one wing on its hip and the other extended just so, the little ducklet exudes confidence. The Pokédex even discusses the process of Quaxly maintaining its dew. Pokemon Scarlet tells us, "This Pokemon migrated to Paldea from distant lands long ago. The gel secreted by its feathers repels water and grime." With its haircut and vibe, I described Quaxly as the cool starter, but an argument could also be made that this is the serious Pokemon. In the opening scene of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, it is Quaxly which dissuades Fuecoco from eating a scorched apple. And Pokemon Violet tells us, "Its strong legs let it easily swim around in even fast-flowing rivers. It likes to keep things tidy, and is prone to overthinking things." The English name combines quack, the sound of a duck, with wax for its hair wax. It also resembles, at least written down if not when said out loud, the surname of Don Quixote, the knightly Spanish literary character, who inexplicably has a very popular Japanese department store chain named after him. The Japanese name, Kuasu, also comes from quack and wax, this time in a kind of anagram. Sprigatito stood up, and Fuecoco went from cute to goofy all the way to terrifying. The question is, does Quaxly remain cool? We can begin to find out when, at level 16, it evolves into Quaxwell. Quaxwell is a little taller and more slender than Quaxly, with an even more serious expression. Its feathers are more extravagant now, particularly on its head, where the haircut is now beginning to resemble some kind of headdress or turban. Bulbapedia suggests that Quaxwell's name takes on well as it now dances so swell, or swell in the way that water swells. For me, I can only see the name Maxwell. I have a good friend named Maxwell, and apparently Maxwell is also, appropriately enough, the name of an English language school in Madrid. I suspect this is all coincidence though, just as Swampert's name is not supposed to sound like Albert or Rupert. The Japanese name is Welcamo, combining well, this time with camo, the Japanese for duck. It also has an odd resemblance to a word that doesn't quite seem relevant, this time, welcome. Rather than simply posing, Quaxwell now finds itself performing permanent dance steps. Pokemon Scarlet tells us, "These Pokemon constantly run through shallow waters to train their legs, then compete with each other to see which of them kicks most gracefully." And Pokemon Violet says, "The hard-working Quaxwell observes people and Pokemon from various regions, and incorporates their movements into its own dance routines." With its thicker legs and these Pokédex entries, I begin to have suspicions about this Pokemon eventually developing a fighting type, as is usually the case for fire-type starter Pokemon. I was quickly able to test my hypothesis when, at level 36, Quaxwell evolved into Quaquaval. Carnival is a tradition which developed from the Catholic Church absorbing pagan traditions. In this case, spring solstice dances and festivals were linked to Easter and the tradition of Lent. Just as I recently learned that Mardi Gras is supposed to precede Lent, the very word carnival comes from the same source as carnivorous, as it means giving up meat. In my hometown of Wells, Somerset in England, Carnival is an early winter event in which illuminated floats bearing loud music parade down the street until late at night. Throughout Latin America, daylight carnival still persists, with all the joy and energy of a party before breaking for Lent. Quaxwell has fully developed into a flamboyant carnival dancer, with floating feathers behind it creating a peacock tail. The Pokemon is locked in a permanent dance step, and its new signature move, Aqua Step, is an incredibly athletic somersault kick, and a powerful physical water move. Pokemon Scarlet tells us, "A single kick from a Quaxwell can send a truck rolling. This Pokemon uses its powerful legs to perform striking dances from far-off lands." And Pokemon Violet tells us, "Dancing in ways that evoke faraway places, this Pokemon mesmerizes all that see it. Flourishes of its decorative water feathers slice into its foes." The name Quaxwell follows on from Quaxly and Quaxwell, while incorporating the words aqua and carnival. There is no accident in what this Pokemon's name sounds like. The Japanese name, Wanival, combines carnival, this time with water or wave. In their earliest forms, Quaxly is easily my favourite of the Generation 9 starters. As the three Pokemon evolved, Meowscarada and Skeledirge became more monster-like, while Quaxwell is a little more humanoid than my taste. That said, I love to dance. What with COVID and living in rural Nagano, it has been far too long since I hit the club, but this is still absolutely the Pokemon for me. I'll never stop shaking my tail feather, and neither should Quaxwell. Music for Luke Loves Pokemon is by Jonathan Cromie. Artwork for the show is by Katie Groves. Writing, producing, and editing is all by me, Luke Summerhays. And funding is provided by lovely listeners at patreon.com/podcastiopodcastius. I love it when you guys get in touch. Hit me up on Twitter or Facebook at LukeLovesPKMN and let me know your thoughts about our next monsters, Lechonk and Tarantula, or share your love for any Pokemon. Also, join me Friday and Saturday nights from 8 PM UK time at twitch.tv/LukeLovesPKMN for my streams. And even if you don't feel like doing any of that, thank you so much just for listening. I love Quaxly, and remember, I love you too.